Good afternoon everyone and good afternoon sir. Today is the second session from Dr. Abhishek Agrawal. First session was on deep health, as you all know, those who have attended, and I'll give small introduction to Dr. Abhishek Agarwal, who completed BNYS and PGD Wellness and certified stored pilots instructor course and 500 Yoga Alliance registered and precision nutrition coach and IAYA certified yoga therapist. So welcome you sir on this small platform with all of us. Thank you so much sir.
Thank you, Bhavit. Thank you. Right, so we'll get into the right into the topic for today. But before we start, I want to thank everybody, and I was really looking forward to connect with you all once again, basically. So in today's topic, we actually want to learn or discuss a bit more about, what's your role as BNYs basically, and how as a doctor, how to stand out from the crowd. Basically, what we're looking really into is the deeper purpose. I mean, once we find out a deeper purpose of, of individuals, I mean, your own purpose, then you basically can stand out very easily. Okay. I'll go a little bit more deeper into it, and I have a few things to talk to in today's session, where I will actually discuss with you, how to find out if you're missing directions in life. See, this can happen usually while you are studying BNYs. This is kind of very common scenario. I mean, I have myself faced it too. And then we'll also learn about the connection, that we have between the life purpose and fulfillment. Now, you all know that being a yoga, practitioners and also teacher eventually, we also kind of learn about what is the fulfillment, what are we looking for, what is the contentment, what am I going to achieve after I finish my BNYs and whatsoever, right? So I'll touch up a little bit into it, and definitely we have long hours for, I mean, long time for the Q&A. Then also why the purpose is like more important. See, most of us look at the purpose because we want to feel happy or something. So I want to actually discuss why is the purpose is greater than just the happiness. And then I'll try to give you a roadmap on how to find your purpose. Okay. So ultimately, once we can find the purpose, because we are all doctors, okay, we are going to be doctors, and some of you already are doctor, of course. Um, so we are looking into how we will stand out there when we come out, because I mean, you're not alone, doctor. I'm doctor too, from the same education. We have studied about everything same, and same curriculum eventually. So I'll find some roadmap to find. Um, I'll give you some roadmap to find the purpose. And during this session, I'll also ask you a few questions. So if you have, a way to just chat or leave any questions, any comments, you should try and do that too. So before we start, um, I want to start with a small story. See, when I was doing my own internship, I was actively participating in doing a kind of a few parallel courses, and also selling a few natural products. So I'm telling that I was also selling few natural products while I was doing my internship. Then I was also participating in some extracurricular activities, also including different courses. During this entire time, this was the time that when I had stopped asking um, money from parents for my own personal expenses. And deep inside, I was worried, and I was also scared, and always wondered that what will I be doing if or when I complete my graduation. Some of you may have the same thoughts. If you do have, you definitely need to let me know. And then by then, I didn't know. Basically, I had no idea what my true purpose is, and most of us really don't know by then what's our true purpose in life itself. I mean, we can think big, and that's great that we could think we will have our own facility, we will run our own naturopathy college or own center. But yeah, that's great. But really, we didn't know what is the true purpose in our life, basically. And but one thing that I knew very much is that I have some responsibility towards my family, towards my parents, my um, my brother and sister. So this was something that I always had in my mind, and I think we all, most of us have this, but more than that, I had this passion to really take the task and the cases that were difficult and not many doctors will take. So I'm talking about my internship. I would not really, I will not certainly be very much stimulated or excited by a weight loss patient, but I'll be very excited with a patient who can't move their knee. There's something wrong with their knee and they just can't move it. So I was more curious about that than going through somebody who has come for the weight loss. So, I mean, we all have different perspective, okay? So you don't get me wrong, but what I'm trying to explain is that I always look things differently. So I actually enjoyed more looking at more serious clients, and most people really didn't look after them basically. You look after them, but what I mean is you don't really check on them constantly, because then there are some difficult clients, there's some very critical conditions that you can touch. Sometimes even doctors and our um, professors will also not allow us to actually deal with those clients because they are kind of a difficult client. But I was always curious in this part. And so, but the most of the part is what I really loved about looking into difficult client was actually I always believed in one thing, is that building a greater relationship with clients and patients is the most important part. And you believe me or not, I've discussed this again earlier in my the 6 domains of deep health. There also I mentioned a lot about how you should build the relationship with your clients and patients. So this was my major lookout at when you're looking at the purpose. Okay, so I was always looking at the serious clients, and my first natural response to these clients was, and even now, was the compassion and the sympathy, and uh, and I wanted to see the improvements in their condition. I mean, this was like the one thing I wanted seriously. Okay, and I would go to such an extent to try and help them. But of course, we have limitations. We were in internship, so we couldn't really do so much. But yes, I would, if I was given a chance, I would kind of do that. So as I start working with those clients, I could see the results in them. Basically, we were doing some yoga classes and helping the arthritic client. And I remember one particular lady, her knee was just not extending at all. And so all the treatment methods that were given, and along with the some yoga techniques that I was teaching to this woman, this patient, she started to feel better. She started to walk better, and they could see the difference, because most of the time I was spending more time talking to them about understanding what is going on with them and why are they in this position right now. Okay, what is the major reason for for them to be in this particular position? I mean, what have they done wrong that they have come to this point, right? So most of the time when I will see most of these clients, um, these patients, even now I see a lot of difficult clients and difficult patients. So what makes me feel is, it makes me feel that I'm useful to them. So if I'm useful to them, it makes me feel more content, makes me feel more fulfilled, makes me feel more satisfied. So could that be a purpose? What do you think? Could that be a purpose, that yes, I'm being useful to somebody, and I could be a resourceful person to my clients, who they can turn into always whenever they need me. I mean, they don't have to be calling me all the time, but whenever they need me, I'm the person that come into their mind. Okay, I should call him. I'm getting this knee problem. I'm getting this neck pain. Okay, I need to contact this person. So that eventually, when I started learning that, eventually became the purpose. And I started to feel more content when I started to feel more useful to people, right? And I mean, the best example is today, right? So if I can be any use to all of you, if you could take any message from this particular webinar, I mean, it is my satisfaction, it's my gratification again. So now when we go into such kind of perspective and looking into the larger picture, I've actually created a small um, presentation. Maybe I should bring it on here. Right, so as you all can see, so this is a small presentation where actually I want to discuss with you about finding your purpose. So remember, I just mentioned earlier that when you feel useful, you feel content. In my case, it is something, and I like to give you my example because maybe this could be a little bit useful for you all. So if I was to look at, when you feel useful, you feel more content, basically, that's what I was saying. So the two universal truth, that is, let me move this slide. See, the two universal truth about human is that we are literally designed to stay in the group, to exist in the group. And we all have a unique set of skills and talents that set us apart from everyone else. So what do you think about this? Right? It's quite true, isn't it? That we love to be in group, and we also have unique skills. We all have unique skills. I mean, you and me have learned literally same thing, okay, over 5.5 year course, but we all have different skill. We have used the same tools in a different way on our clients. So that is a skill and the talent, that set us apart from everyone else. See, regardless of whatever, or whether, whether or not you consider yourself to be gifted individual that is, capable of remarkable things, or a person who was not blessed, if you think that you're not blessed with any useful skill, whatever, I can tell you one thing, that we all possess at least one skill or a talent, every one of us. Okay, so that is something that you should remember, that we all have some skills. And this one of the reason is, there's one of the reason that we have achieved so much as a human species, because we all have different skill, and we use different skill and on different occasions. Okay, I mean, we all have multiple skills. I mean, I could write a program, I could create a PDF, I could create this, I could create that, but I have multiple skills which I have built over time. And that's exactly how we all can actually build skill, and also and then eventually, when we have a talent of understanding things better, then we can use it more faster in order to just create something bigger than ourselves. Okay, then I'm going to discuss that a little bit more just in the next slide. So if we were to look at ourselves in a big picture, like say um, for example, if we are, if you being useful to something, to somebody, like, for example, I am useful to my parents, okay, in a way that I can provide them some sustainability, right? Financially, I can help them. Or maybe my younger brother could be useful for something within the society. And if I can be useful to help my brother to be useful to others, so this becomes more and more, more like a pattern of helping or being useful. So if I could be useful to you, you probably could be useful to somebody else. So it's all about learning from, I mean, we're just running from the top to the bottom, and everybody else is learning from each other. So being useful is one of the part of that, is actually learning and trying to be useful. So is there something that is missing in your life? That's a question that you should be asking if you can't be useful to something or to someone. Has it ever occurred to you that sometimes you woke up and then you felt like, okay, I'm not useful. I'm not useful to anybody. And for me is this can happen, especially when you're studying during this time. Okay, so is there something that is missing in your life? That is a question you should ask. Like, if you may remember, when you were a kid, you didn't have to wake up. You were just like up again in the morning, and you're ready to go to school. The same thing happens when we are in college. I mean, I'm telling about my story. Is every morning at 6:45 we have yoga class, 5:45 we have yoga classes. And there were a series of people, number of students who woke up even 5 o'clock, 5:30 to go to the yoga classes. But there were other number of people who didn't even care going to. So what really happens during this period of time is when we are learning something, we we don't have much of a purpose. So for example, you joined the college because maybe you want to earn some substantial amount of money, you have a big dream, or maybe your parents send you to at least become a doctor so that you can marry someone, or you could also be useful to community. I mean, there are many reasons. Or maybe your father owns a hospital, runs a hospital, and he wants you to study this so you could be useful for him. So there are many reasons why we come out. The point is there something that is missing in your life eventually that you feel personally? Okay. And if you do feel that, that's when you need to ask yourself a few questions. See, you might be missing directions in your life because when you wake up someday in the morning and you realize that, hey, um, I don't have any motivation. I don't know what to do next. Or okay, I have to just go to the college and study and then come back in. Or once you become the doctor, eventually, you will have a lot of work to do, which may not seem at that time like this is your life purpose. So you will be missing a lot of directions. And this is very common because we are not so clear about what we really want and how do we want to achieve it. What do we really want and how do we want to achieve that? We're not very clear about it. Once and only when we become clear about it, which happens gradually, we are always missing the direction in life. So, it's sometimes you may ask, like, when your life is missing direction, you may begin to lose motivation, first of all. And then, you would do things you you would not do the things that you love to do before. Or maybe you feel, an overwhelming sense of numbness, like, okay, whatever it is, I'm just going to wake up and do a few things like that. So if you're missing direction in life, these are the four thoughts that will come into mind. Okay. It's not what you want. Something which means is, you don't know what you want in life, but you do know that this is something that you don't want, right? You get my point, right? So you don't know what you want in life, but you know this is not it. This is not what I want in my life. But so that's a very important part, that you must list out everything that you don't want in your life. That's the most important part, the first step. Now, the second thought may come here is you don't feel strong emotions. I mean, sometimes you're very excited. I mean, strong emotion doesn't mean only negative, but even positive emotions. You don't feel strong emotions. If you're not feeling strong emotions, you're not driven, you're not ready. You will not get up and try to help or be useful to somebody. So we need to feel the strong emotions. And I'm going to give you in a minute how you can find the direction. And then you will rarely follow through with the things that you have said you will do. So you said to somebody, okay, I will do this, I will give it to you tomorrow, okay, I will submit this tomorrow, I will get it done tomorrow. But no, you didn't do it. So why that happens? Why that you don't follow through? I mean, these are the questions you will need to ask. Why didn't I do it? Am I not interested about it? Or is this just too much? It's not in my skill, or I can't do it. It's just beyond my capacity, or something of that. And then you can differentiate one day from another. This is this is something that most of us will start to feel after we get a job, that every day will be same. You go in the morning to the, I mean, you feel maybe even now, you go to the college, you wake up, you go college, then you have clinicals, and you have every day seems like same. But right now you have a bit of excitement because you could see different cases maybe, or different programs, or learning something new. And that's what should continue eventually when you are a medical professional. I mean, when you become a doctor, or when you are already handling patients, or when you're teaching yoga classes. But this will stop happening. And at some point, you will feel that every day feels same. I mean, I feel it too. For some times, for me, it feels like every day is same. I'm up here 7 a.m. I'm finishing at 9 p.m. Some days 8 p.m. So it is all same. But then I'm up again next day morning with a new thoughts, a new process, and kind of thinking that okay, this day will be another day, like same. Or some days I wake up and make my day and thinking that this day has to be different. I have to make it different. So what am I going to do to make it different? Right? So these are the questions, or these are the thoughts that will come. This is how you will know if you're missing direction in life, I would say, eventually, not just the. So this slide is quite interesting here, on how do we find direction in life. See, it's very easy actually. If you look into these slides, you get a very clear idea. Is if you do something you love, that's the way you can find direction. And I'm saying this to you, it does not mean that you just start opening and then start drawing and painting, coloring, but do something you really love doing. Okay. For me, if I lost direction, the one thing I do is I record my own videos. I mean, I love doing it. So every time I feel I'm lost directions, I don't know what to do, a night before, I will sit down and I'll prepare myself. Okay, tomorrow I'm going to just talk about this particular topic to myself. And I'll start the recording and I'll start working on that. And it's amazing that when I come out next day, I get multiple ideas of how I can proceed the entire week. So likewise, you have to find something that you love to do. If you have something that you love to do, you can also leave in the comment. And when we go through the Q&A, I'll check on some of your comments, and then we will see that uh, I get to know, what you like to do. So see, maybe it's not your hobby, okay? Because recording a video is not my hobby, basically. But do something that you love. What it means is, it doesn't mean that you need to do something that comes under your hobby, like you had it as a child. But it could be a hobby that you had last year. Last year, maybe you had a new hobby. You built a new. I mean, I'm not talking about the negative habits or hobbies. I'm talking about more positive types of um, hobbies. Okay. So if you ask me what positive types, maybe somebody should ask me later in the Q&A. Okay. But there is probably something that you want to do right now, that you just love doing, but it has to be right now. You just want to do it. And if you start doing it, you get different ideas. Suddenly you will start getting different ideas. That will help you find the direction. Okay. And later, further, when we go through more slides, I'll actually explain you how easy it is. And it becomes more like a one complete picture. So allow yourself to feel is another one. Okay. See, no matter what cause you the loss of motivation or the purpose, sometimes we may lose purpose, and you might forget your purpose. For example, right now your purpose may be to finish this BNYS, graduate, and find a new job. Okay, but that is not really a purpose. That is just a task that you're looking for to, I mean, something that you're hoping to accomplish. Because even if you did that, there will be something else you want to do, and there is something else you want to do. But the purpose is much more deeper, and I'm going to tell you in a minute how to find that purpose also. As the third part is, you have to readjust your path. Sometimes you may, just because you didn't end up where you thought your life will end up. I mean, you might not want to become a BNYs, but maybe you became BNYs. You might have to still find the path how to integrate your skills into your field. Okay, because one thing I can tell you before I finish this entire webinar is that if you have chosen something, if you have educated in something, you should not give it up, because it takes a lot of time. Okay, 5 years, 5.5 years, you cannot give up that just to become a pilot, or just to become um, a businessman, or maybe another doctor in another field. Right, this is something you have to understand, that it is very important that you carry it on, you will find the path, because there is something. If you believe in destiny, there is something that is given to you. Now it's up to you how you want to, move it through. So basically, you may have to readjust your path. Okay, I'm not achieving this goal yet, so I'm going to move a little bit to the side and then have some fun, play cricket, enjoy. Okay, I'll come back again, and then I will start moving into my path. So that is kind of readjusting the path. So you go around and then come back to your path, something of that. So what is your true purpose ultimately? If we were to look at your true purpose, see, before I mentioned earlier, no, you remember the other part that I mentioned earlier in my story, at the beginning, about about me feeling a sense of fulfillment. So for that fulfillment, you need to build the connection between life. You need to see the connection between life purpose and that fulfillment. Okay, I'm a little bit confused with that one at the moment, but I want to go back to this first. So what is your true purpose? Okay, if we were to look at your true purpose, I have this few questions that you must ask yourself. And I'm telling you, if you ask these questions to yourself, most likely you will actually end up um, changing and standing out from the crowd. See, we all take these things differently. Our mind works differently. What am I talking to you? If we have 60 participants, each of you are learning it differently. And this is how we are accustomed. I mean, this is how we are all. So in a monetary free world, right? How would you spend your life, right? If you were to start, I mean, most of the people, or a huge, large amount of people, will spend their entire working life in a job, changing locations, or a profession in general that they don't really like. They just hate their profession, but they still work in that. Okay. While this sounds crazy to anyone on the outside of the society, if you're looking from outside the society, this pattern is easy to fall into. We all can fall into this simple pattern. You have a job, didn't like it, you change the location. You didn't like the location, then you change the profession. And then you didn't like it, and then you keep changing. So the things are constantly changing because there is no purpose set. If we are not setting a purpose, this will be keep changing, constantly changing. So you'll have to sit down yourself and then actually ask, what would you spend your time with? What is that you really want to spend? I mean, say for example, if this world has to end in next 10 years, what is that you want to do, or you want to spend your time into doing it? And if you can figure that out, that will be one of the best way, okay, to define your purpose. Another one is, see, what type of things, this is another question you should be asking, what types of things you're not naturally good at. So, I mean, I'm also from the college and, STM college. Um, my seniors, my juniors, my classmates, we all had, wow, variety of skills. And we were good at doing so many things naturally. We could, I mean, literally, I could do 5 things naturally very good. And then one of my friend, he could do something very good naturally. So we all had different type of skills, or we were good at doing something naturally. So you may have some too. So what you're going to do here is, some of you may have like a skill like art and craft. So if you could be good at that, probably that could be a purpose. Now, hang on with me, because being BNYs does not mean you give up your life for only helping your patient, because your patient also human, and they also have many skills. And if you match your skill, you're actually building the relationship. So there is a whole perspective, different perspective to what I'm trying to explain here. If you're good at something naturally, you'll have to continue doing that. Okay, so list out all the things you're naturally good at. Some of you may be very good in Reiki. Some of you very good in Reiki. Some of you may be very good in pranic healing. Some of you very good in teaching meditation, in fact. Some of you may be a good listener, and you could actually pursue you could further educate yourself in more human psychology, or yogic psychology, something of that. So you could And if you're listening, a good listener, you can eventually build a more better relationship to people who talk more. So that way you listen more, you understand more eventually, and then that could be more useful. Or maybe you have a very good speaking skill or writing skill. So if you're good, naturally good, I mean, you've been anchor for entire 5 years in the college. I mean, that's amazing. So you could become that still being a BNYS. And if you have a good writing skill, you could actually write articles. I mean, the world is changing, and people, everything is data driven now. Everything is about the contents, and people want to learn more and more, not just from me or from anybody superior, but actually even from you. The people may want to learn. I mean, your own patients may want to learn from you. Your juniors may want to learn from you too. So something of that. So you'll have to put things out that you're naturally good at. And most of the people will tell you that. Basically, your own classmates and your seniors will tell you, oh, you're very good in dancing, you're very good in singing, you're very good in acting. So all of this is good because this will be a useful path, a useful way to actually define your purpose better. Now comes the next one. The next question you should be asking is, when do I feel most alive? What are you doing that makes you feel alive? And some of you may be alive when you go play football. So every evening you play football, you feel like, whoa, I want nothing. I just want to play football. Some of you may be, into the sports. Some of you may be contributing growth, which means you might be helping your patients to recover better. You might be good at helping people to exercise better. You are maybe good at physiotherapy. Maybe you're good at exercise therapy, rather electrotherapy. Maybe you are good at just yoga, simply very good at yoga. I mean, not just doing part, but also, um, being able to interpret what you really want, to convey the right message to your patient. And then another one thing is if somebody gives you a compliment, right? So, for example, if you have, um, you may receive like lots of compliments from different people, okay? And there comes when you feel more alive. I mean, oh, I'm good at dancing, oh, I'm good at speaking, I'm good at listening, and I'm good at this, I'm good at that. Or I'm good at helping my client, I'm good at acupuncture, maybe I'm very good in doing yoga. So all of that. So what is that makes you more alive? That's something you need to look into. So that is the third question that you should be asking. The another one is, what do others tell me I'm good at? This is another very, very important question to be asked. So if somebody tells you that you're good at something, you'll have to take that a little serious because it is not really, really funny part. I mean, there are some things that my seniors and my classmates and even my clients right now, they tell me that, oh, you're good at this. You're good at diagnosing the right problem. You're good at understanding what is going on with this particular group of muscle. And you help me with the pain and all of that. Sometimes you might be very good. I mean, when we were in college, I was in going through the yoga competition. So I was doing some yoga postures. That time I didn't even know that I'll be doing yoga or I'll be teaching yoga. But I just was naturally flexible at it. So I used to do all the yoga postures. And we even went to the competition. And some of you may be very, very good at yoga postures. Naturally, your body is flexible. So you have to keep that up. But there is one very important point there that I'm going to tell you here that is really good about BNYs, like really good about you, me, and every BNYs. If you're pursuing as an body artist, like as a yoga teacher, there is one very important point that you have to understand is that you're a doctor, which means you have the knowledge of human anatomy and physiology and the biochemistry. These three are the major pillars in understanding your body. If someone's body weight is going up and down, fluctuating, the biochemistry plays a very important role because nutrition is the key there. You understand? So sometimes even they do a lot of exercise, they may not lose weight. So what do you do with that? Sometimes people come up with arthritis. Sometimes you may have to change their diet, giving them anti-inflammatory diet, the diet that helps them reduce the inflammation, more diuretic that helps them reduce the calcification from the joint, right? Drinking more water is a simple thing. So all that knowledge is necessary. I mean, it's not just teach the postures and you're done. So we have a much bigger role to play. The diagnosis part is very important. Now you can diagnose this person has sciatica. Now you all know, you studied what is sciatica, right? You all know that sciatica is not necessarily only a piriformis trapment of your sciatic nerve in the piriformis muscle, but it could also originate directly from the spine, or it could be compressed somewhere lower, and that may mimic as a sciatica. So you have a better diagnosis, which means you're not wandering around. You know that this is the condition and this is not good. If the, excuse me, if the nerve is not trapped in your piriformis, there is no point keep stretching piriformis, because eventually you're going to cause more problems with that particular muscle, because you're overstretching and making that muscle more weak. So that is not going to work. So that is one of the compliment that I like to give to all of you, or all of the BNYs, that we have the knowledge of that, the human anatomy, physiology, and the biochemistry is the key factor in even teaching yoga to people, even general exercises, because we have that understanding. So you have to maybe study a little bit more further that is more related to yoga. Okay, if you need any help with that, you can definitely contact me, right, for that. So what do others tell me that I'm good at? You'll have to point that out. List out everything that people tell you. You have to start from now. Okay, and start from now, and build your secret diary about yourself. Then, will this last longer than I will? This is something I can tell you I ask myself every single day. And you have to ask this question literally many times until you get the idea. Because I can't create an electricity. It's been already done. I cannot I cannot create something that is already done, but I can help it improve, right? If there is already a series of problems existing in the world and there is no cure for that, how can you work on them? That could be very effective. Everybody talks about yoga, right? You yourself talks. Yoga is very good for mental health. Yoga is very good for Parkinson's. Yoga is very good for this. But how good it is? How good it is? Can it cure? Right? Something of that. Now, some of you are really fighting very well, and I know that you must have met a lot of doctors who would claim and say to you that we have treated Parkinsonism or kind of some deadly disorders or some really life-threatening problems. But that's great if they have done it. But the point is, has it been out yet? Are we helping more people? So that was not their purpose, but it come out to be a purpose. So now are they working on that purpose? So at some point you might be a researcher, okay, and you might research and create a lot of research for yourself or for other people. Now that's when you will have to, like some people who are doing a lot of research, they have a purpose because they want to do something that can be useful for the generations to come. Generation of BNYs to come. So it's something of that. So can you create something innovative in your field, or can you look for a purpose where you can actually create a remedy or a treatment in particular for a particular problem? Which is really effective. Not that somebody told, but you have really done it. Or maybe the another part would be simply like being a nurse or being a caretaker, or the simple purpose of life could just be look after the family. I mean, there's really nothing wrong with that. I mean, as a wife, you could just take care of your family, your children, and your husband, and that is already a huge purpose. That is, most of Indians. We all know it. What's happening, right, in our family, and see how much the women have to sacrifice, especially the moms. So how much do they have to sacrifice in their life? But it's but that is for good, right? That is for good for everybody else. And when we give them the compliment or when we appreciate that, they feel better about it. So that is their purpose. And giving compliments and giving them, a token of appreciation is the most important part for most of us, and we should keep doing that. So if we were to look into those four questions, I come to this final conclusion is people who feel useful in life are actually happier than anybody else. Now let's settle this in together. Think about this. People who feel useful in life are happier than anyone else. So if you don't agree with this, just please write a message, right? So then we can talk about it. If just in case if you don't agree. This is the reason why, okay? Because they have something to look forward to. See, everybody who have a purpose, they wake up in the morning and they have a purpose, that they have something they want to do. They are looking forward to do something, and it's the important thing for them. So see, there's a connection between doing something you truly enjoy, and feeling like a productive member of society. See, let's say you're a teacher. I mean, you became a BNY's teacher, okay? And you go to teach in a very struggling or very small um, BNY's college, okay? So once you are there and you're teaching, the students of the school are, they are started to improve. They started to become better. I mean, this is the example of, I can tell you my own teachers who started or who went to the college which had no other teacher, and they started building, and some great students came out of from the college. So likewise, they look forward to it. They have something to look forward to. They want to teach their students to become better. Okay, that's one thing. Another thing is, they feel like they play a role in society. So that's why being useful means that they feel like they play a role in society. They're also more compassionate. You naturally become more compassionate, and they're also proud of what they do, and they're more selfless because they will be doing things without asking much in return. Right? When you feel useful and like you have potential to give back to society, you might be willing to give back more than anybody else. So that's what really means by that. So you need to accept the fact that being useful is more important than happiness. Okay, and I know some of you may not really agree on that. I mean, why should we be why is this happiness I mean, for some of us happiness is really very important, but this is what happens with the happiness. Happiness is not really everything, because our happiness constantly changes. Our stimulant always changes. We might feel like, okay, I'm happy about this today, and tomorrow it will change to something else. And likewise, we don't have any purpose what we are moving forward to, right? So we don't have a purpose, we don't have a real goal that we are moving forward to. So happiness is really not everything there. So the real problem with happiness, what are the real problems with the happiness? I personally feel that the happiness is very confusing all the time. See, for one, you see, your perception of what makes you happy might not always be accurate, because some days you might feel, um, that this is your dream, and this is what you want to do. And once you achieve it, then kind of you are not really happy about it again. And these things keep changing constantly. So the point that you're looking at, or an object that you're looking at for happiness, it's very different. So that's why if you're useful more to your own community, then it will be much more better than looking for your own happiness, because there is a problem with that, with being happiness. So how can you be useful? If you can be useful, how can you be useful? See, you look into helping those, who are less fortunate, people who don't have enough supplies, or um, basically you give back to the community. When you start to give back to the community, what happens really? You start to get back in return too, because giving back to community is it has been always there. See, we all work so hard, and I mean, look at the um, other professionals, right? I mean, forget about us. Look at the businessmen, or look at the other large corporations. How do they give back to the community, right? So giving back to community bring them the purpose and actually make them feel more useful, because when they feel useful, they can go on and keep doing it. Second, you have to stop comparing yourself to others. Okay, so being useful is also very beneficial. This is how you can really find your purpose. If you start to give back to the community, if you stop comparing yourself to others and learn new things. We all have to learn new things. I mean, I'm learning every day something new, and I'm sure you will start learning too once you finish your graduation. And then make new friends. You should always try make new friends, because making new friends gives you a new purpose also. A purpose in a way that, you have a group of friends, okay, but they have a limited knowledge too, and they are good at something great. They can only give you that much. You can only learn that much from them. So if you make new friends, there is more chances to learn something more. Okay, so I mean, Facebook does help. You could have like, now in Facebook you can make friends with anybody. In LinkedIn you can make friends with anybody. Plus also you can make friends with somebody you really feel connected, because if you feel connected with them, you actually, if you have a purpose, you actually feel connected with your life. So that is something that I wanted to discuss with you. See, my final thoughts would be here is to if you want to find your purpose in life, okay, finding purpose in life will actually help you to turn your life around for a better. But you have to be willing to put in a little work into it, because it's not going to just happen overnight. Rome was not built in one day, right? You have to look around. You have to look everything and try and surround yourself with a solid support system. Because if you have a solid support system, you can always ask them the question, and you will be the one in the right path before you know it. So that's something I wanted to discuss in this. Actually, I want to open more for the Q&A, because the topic is really very general. So the more questions we have, I could be more specific in answering to all of that. Okay, so maybe I'll ask Bhavit to.
Sure, sir. They can unmute or they can chat, like text and chat box also. That's what I mentioned. If anyone, they can unmute and they can talk directly. They can discuss anything.
So I'm just going to stop the sharing here.
Yes. We will wait for 1 or 2 minutes. So if anyone is having any doubts or
Yeah, sure. No worries. We can wait. How about you, Bhavit? Do you have any question?
do not have any questions right now, maybe I'll discuss with you anytime. So whenever it is possible. So there is a question in the chat box.
Okay, how to differentiate between yoga and exercise to common people? The biggest mistake we all make here is we actually try to explain them. This is the biggest mistake, okay? The point is that a person is not going to learn or going to understand by you telling them until it comes from them. Okay, I hear this all the time, and a lot of people, even we can get a little bit conflicted telling that, hey, don't do it like this. It's yoga. It's not. I mean, what is really wrong with us? Sometimes we have to think that there is nothing really wrong about people understanding yoga as exercise or exercise as yoga, because I'll be very frank with you in this part. I live in, outside India. I mean, people understand what yoga is, but they don't really understand what yoga is. They still want to lose weight. They still want to, um, you know, feel kind of workout is not strong enough for them, something of that sort. So they have a very different perspective on yoga and exercise. For us, we cannot really explain to them unless they are willing to learn. So let's compare this with two different people. A person who knows or who understand what yoga is and what exercise is, okay, and the another person who has no idea what yoga and exercise is. A person who knows what yoga and exercise is will not really ask you. He will just go to practice yoga with you or come to exercise with you. But another person who have no idea what is yoga and exercise, that to that person you will actually have to explain to them a little bit differently. What you have to really do it, you have to first bring them to do what you want them to learn. Forget about teaching them what is yoga, what is exercise. Even the most common person, I can be very sure, most of us also have a lot of confusion about what is yoga and what is exercise. And to be very frank, we use yoga in the form of exercise too. And we use yoga in the form of relaxation too. So there is really nothing much to keep arguing on. Yoga is not exercise, exercise, is different, yoga is different. There's really nothing to argue about it because we're spending so much time and wasting a lot of time explaining to them what is yoga, what is Pilates, or what is exercise. So, what we want them to understand, what do you want to learn? This is the right question. And if they say, what is the difference between yoga and exercise? You can tell them, how about we practice yoga today? And then you tell me, what do you feel about it? What is the difference? How about you find out? Maybe you learn a better explanation because the people who did exercise and did yoga will be able to explain better than you and me, actually. I mean, I am in this industry for since 2005. Okay, I've been teaching it. Everybody asked me the same question until I just gave up. I said, why don't we just practice? What do you want to do? Do you want to do yoga? Or you want to do exercise? I want to do yoga. Okay, what's your purpose? I want to relax. Okay, great. So let's do something to relax. It doesn't matter what we do. Ultimately, you have to be like that. I mean, that's the difference being BNYS and a yoga teacher. I mean, you are a doctor. It doesn't matter if you're teaching them yoga or exercise or giving them mud therapy. You have to solve the problem. That's what is more important. So let's get that clear. Don't worry about exercise or yoga differentiation. Okay. So if you have any question on that, please ask me again. Okay. But that's my answer. Sir, how can we help adult male who are in stress due to shutdown of business, corona fear, and economic crisis? How can we ward off their stress and help them in becoming happy, forgetting stress? Okay. See, this stress is normal. And to be very frank with you, I am stressed every day too. I'm running the business as well. Okay. I have my clients, I need to pay my bills. The stress is very common and it's not going away. This is the fact you have to accept right now before it's too late. But how can you turn that stress into a bit friendly environment at home? That is the more important part. I cannot tell you that the corona will get over by next month or 2 months later. I don't even know when it's gonna finish. I mean, if you look at the um, real picture of it, if you understand, corona is not less than an HIV because basically you are looking at a very different type of virus. Because if it was possible, it would have been done. So this is a very serious virus, and the fear everybody has, we all have it too. See, if things will go down, it will go down, but they will go down slowly. They're not going to just collapse like that. Okay, they will go down slowly, but this is the time that we, as an adult man, I mean, say for example, maybe you're asking for your father, you can actually explain to them that, okay, dad, it's okay, this is normal, and we are in this pandemic. Can you imagine what happened when there was the malaria epidemic? What happened then? How people responded then? It was huge. It was really problematic then too. How people responded that, we don't know. So right now we are facing this. To be very frank, we are seeing this and we're actually learning to be more stronger, because we always told ourselves we are strong, we are capable, we are stable, we are da da da. What happens now? So we need to continue doing that. We still need to sustain. We still need to. The best way is with, if the economy is going down, which means your income is less, you need to reduce your expenses too. Simple formula. I mean, wouldn't you do that? If the BP is high, what you'll do? Give some medicine to reduce the BP. Something like that. If BP is low, what you do? You have to give some medicine or ask them to drink more water or a bit of salt in diet, maybe that will help them increase the blood pressure. So we have to look at it very differently. We cannot be fearful and stressed about it. And to be very frank, there is a solution for every problem. You just have to openly come up and talk. And that's the best way. I mean, we can save lives just by coming up and talking. So whoever's in your family, I mean, adult man, you have to explain to them that this is fine and you are okay with it. And you have to explain to them too that the stress is not going away. This will stay. But can you convert this stress to more happy? Find something else to do. That's it. And something that they love doing. If that is possible, that'll be great. So other than that, yes, maybe some yoga would help, right? Everybody is working with yoga. Everybody says yoga is helpful in reducing stress, and it is actually. I mean, I can I can be very sure that if more and more people come and join um, yoga classes and practice breathing, at least for that 1 hour, you can clear your mind. And what really happens with exercise, yoga, or any type of activity is your hormones play a very important role to reduce your stress level as well. So you boost your immunity just by exercising. Just by exercising, you can boost your immunity. I mean, even yoga, I would say. You can boost your immunity, you can strengthen your core, and actually feel more better for the rest of the day. So actually to clear your mind, you'll have to find different activities so that your stress can be reduced. But the situation and the problem is not solved, and it's not going to solve so soon. And we have to be um, very optimistic about it. You have to be very optimistic that, okay, we are facing this problem and it will go, but it will take its time because it's not in our hand. But we have to protect ourselves. We have to work through, um, you know, we have to make this time as as a useful time. You'll have to even use your own skills. So even if I'm talking about um, a family member, or maybe my father is maybe in stress at the moment, and if I talk to him and when I call him, I said to him, you've been complaining for you've been working throughout your life. This is your time to just rest and take a break, and this is great. And once this is over, you can start working again as much as you want to. But for now, you can just relax and just let it go. So something of that, I would really recommend you should talk to your parents, and please ask them to accept it. We need to accept it, because until you accept it, you will always be in fear, and you will always have this feeling. Okay. Okay. All right. Well, thank you, brother. We have right. So I feel like this pandemic has made too lazier than before. Okay. And since it is lockdown, student like me are having, okay, so you have to stay at hostel. Meanwhile, exams are also announced by university, sir. Can you please suggest how to prepare ourselves for exams? Either first to read the topic which are new or read or already read subjects, or any other alternative methods, sir? So preparing for anatomy, physiology. Yes. Okay, exam preparation. Nice. This is a good topic. I think. Okay, I think with the exam preparation, with how do you usually prepare for exam, right? You're living in a hostel maybe, and you still can see your friends, right? So if you can see your friends or your classmates, you're studying with them basically. So to prepare for your exam, my idea would be to actually thoroughly read and discuss. The more you discuss each topic, like you're looking at this, right? You're watching me, and if you were to discuss each subject or each topic with a couple of friends, I mean, you could just pick up phone and then actually talk to them, and you could actually discuss together, just like this small webinar, to actually come together and talk about anatomy, or any of the subject that you have. So preparing for exam, I don't think it's very difficult preparing for exam. Um, but are you more worried about passing, or you're just worried about exam? I mean, I'm sorry to ask this question, but I need to know if you're worried about passing the exam, or you're just worried about the exam. Because if you're only worried about the exam, I think
Good
you should
afternoon,
really.
sir.
Yes, hi.
Sir, actually, we have our books at hostel, sir. We are forced to use PDF materials. There are only less period of time for preparation of exams too. And many of our portion has been taught only through online classes. So, can you please suggest whether either to revise the chapters which we have already studied and later on to move on the new chapters, or to learn the new chapters first, sir?
No, no, no. You will have to revise what you have already studied. What has been already taught has to be revised. So you don't have to worry about the new chapter until you have revised what you have already been studying, because it is important. Look, the universities knows, and everybody knows the condition here. Okay, so you want to be strong at what has been already taught to you first, and then what is not being taught to you, then you can go over that later. I would do that. I mean, if I was writing an exam in this situation, I would exactly do that. I will not study something that is not being covered in the entire year with the teachers. I would study something that has been covered very well. I would read it thoroughly. I will understand it more better. I would discuss with my friends more, and then I will probably prepare for my exam. But if I have more time after I cover up all the studies, then I'll definitely study what is left behind.
Thank you,
What
sir.
is not being covered. Yep, you're welcome. Is that yeah?
Yes, I don't think so. There is any doubt as of now because that much big caution is there for the exam. Maybe that is
Okay, okay. No, I totally understand. Well, all the best to everyone for the exam, and
maybe
I
few
am.
of them. That's why they are not able to attend because of college sessions. Maybe something like that. So, but still, those who have attended, they have learned how to grow as a doctor. Maybe I hope so.
Okay, that's good. That's good. Yeah. So this is all exams for the all the years, right?
Yeah, yeah. Maybe different universities in the places, different states having different kind of criterias complete
Yes.
their exams. So maybe no time.
Okay. No, no. I totally understand. That's fine. And actually, it's good that at least we still had some people who could follow it up, and this recording will be there, so they could always go back and watch it.
So if any question is there, do let us know in 10 to 20 seconds, and otherwise we'll conclude the session. maybe sir, we can conclude our session because nobody is having any question. Maybe they have understood what they have to understand it from this class. And if any questions or doubts are there, you can directly contact to him with their mail ID, sir. Like if you text, if anybody wants to contact with you.
Yep. You need an email ID?
Yeah, that will be fine. Or anything else like mode of contact.
Mm, why is that?
So thank you so much, sir, for taking your time and spending this good presentation. That's what itself for me as an intern, I learned a lot from this presentation. How to step out after this year. So thank you so much, sir, and hope everyone will learn from this, from the recording too. And thank you so much, sir, for your time. And thank you everyone to come on this platform.
Thanks to everyone. Thank you.
Thank you. We'll end this meeting. Thank you, sir. Bye bye.